develop something in the development system, transport it to the quality assurance system. There is going to be tested there, and then it's transported to the production system. So the production system is configured to block any attempt to modify or to create a new program directly into that system. Every change that is to be done in the production system must have followed all these steps and this transport workflow. So through this procedure, it's expected that the quality and availability of the SAP production system is maximized. Okay? But the problem is that we have this guy again, Menem, that's still boring. And he says that the unauthorized modification of ABAP programs directly in production system is possible. So let's see why. Each of these systems, each SAP system is running with its own database. So you can have Oracle, SQL Server, Informix, DB2. These attacks are not Oracle related. They can be in any database that it's running with. So you as an attacker might find a way to modify an ABAP program directly in production, but it's not trivial. So what an attacker will probably do is to go and attack directly the SAP's heart, that is the database. So he can exploit this SAP plus Oracle authentication weakness. He can use of one of the default user credentials for the database access. He can run a database exploit and take over the database. And remember, this is important, that even though he doesn't have, you may be thinking like, oh, no one on my network can get direct access to the database because it's firewalled. As I told you before, if the attacker got access to SAP system and he's SAPOL, he can go down into the database. So it's pretty much the same. One of the issues is that there is no CRC or signature on the stored ABAP code. So actually, there is nothing that prevents the attacker from modifying the code at the database layer. Okay, so I think this is the second demo. So let's go into simulate something. I'm going to show you how an end user from your accounting department, for example, is creating a new vendor. Okay, so this guy, Sean, is going to log in into SAP system. This is like a big Wall Street company. So he goes to the FK01 transaction. This transaction is for creating vendors. So he will create vendor 8888, whatever. Here's the company code, well, just technical information. And he's going to say, okay, this is vendor, yes, no, let's choose a different name. I don't know, Missiles Inc. I think I spelled it wrong, but yeah, I don't know. So, well, we have to complete some fields, and this is a US company. So, well, he can fill in tax information, physical address, all of the information that we can skip for the demo. But what we want to stress is that he is going to configure this vendor's bank account. Okay, so the Mrs. Inc. told him that his account number was 9090909090, and the account holder is John Smith. Okay, so this guy Sean creates a new vendor, configures the bank account, and saves the record. Okay, it's going to take a second because usually SAP systems are not run on laptops, so be mercy with mine. I think it's saved. Oh, sorry. No, this is too long. Okay, less 90s. But remember that there is a 90 there. Okay, so it's created. So now if we go to display that vendor information in another transaction, and we show the payment information, this vendor is configured with that bank account. Okay? So John finishes his work, and he goes home. He closes, and he goes home. So now this attacker will come in, and he's going to execute a Python script. Backdoor, was it? Yeah. So then I'm going to show you what it's doing, but it's going to be attacking this system. Sorry. And this payload, I think it is. Yeah. Okay, so the backdoor is doing something remotely to the SAP system. Okay, that's it. It says that backdoor is installed here. So John comes the next day, more relaxed, and he logs in again into the SAP system. Oh, sorry. Before that, there is something else that the attacker has to do, that is to reset user buffers. That is something technical, but as the attacker has some controls, he has to do this synchronize, and that will invalidate all the current information stored in the buffers. Okay, so then the attacker finishes his job. So then Sean comes in. Let me log in again, just in case. Okay, so John comes in. Now it's going to take a bit longer because he doesn't have any kind of information in the user buffer. So the SAP system is pretty much recompiling a lot of programs that were already precompiled for this user. So it's going to take a little bit to recompile all that information. Okay, let me try to see if I can. Okay, so Sean needs to create a new vendor. Here you can see that it's compiling it's compiling that ABAP program, SAP MF02K, that is a program that is handling the vendor creation. Okay? And it's recompiling it because the attacker modified it in the database, and he invalidated all the buffers. So this is also going to take a little bit. It's taken more than a little bit. Okay, there it is. So now he's going to create a new vendor. Okay, he's going to create vendor 434343, whatever. The same company code, the same account group. So again, the SAP system is going to need to some recompiling. So now he's creating world company XYZ. Okay, so he creates a new vendor in the system. Again, it's American, and he will say that, he's again configuring, this bank account for the vendor. So he uses, this vendor is using bank account number 55555. And he's Michael Johnson, whatever. So he saves the vendor information. See that there is a lot of fives here in his bank account. It's pretty much what everything poor Sean does every day. So now he goes to see this vendor information. Yes, work company, and hopefully you see that there is a different bank account. Okay, so actually, I don't know if you get the point, but the backdoor has modified, without any kind of problems, the vendor bank account to Menem's bank account. So every automatic payment that the SAP system is doing to that vendor, that money will actually go to the attacker's bank account. Okay, so he's like stealing money from the company. Okay, so that's the second attack. Okay, and finally, the last attack is how the attacker can backdoor the authentication procedure. So that is that SAP tries to protect certain critical ABAP programs. Okay? So if you, I'm going to show you now. So the idea is that if you want to access some of these programs, the system will tell you that you cannot access the source code because it's protected. So I was like kind of trying to figure out how this was implemented in the system. The first thing that I saw it was this report table where the source code is stored, contained a field, SQLX, that was described as source code protection. So I removed the X for many reports, but I couldn't still access them. So then I realized, I also found it online later on, that there was a special ABAP magic string. That's that one. So if you develop your ABAP program and you include that line at the very first line, you will prevent anyone from looking at that source code. Yes? Yeah, this is what I just said. But there seems to be something else going on critical ABAP program protection. So let's talk about SAP MSysT, that is probably the most critical piece of ABAP code in an SAP system, because it handles the user authentication procedure. Okay, so this screen, sorry, let's close this one. This screen here, if you see in the right bottom, this is actually an ABAP program, okay, that is processing your client user and password. It's SAP MSysT, okay, so it handles the user authentication. What I discovered was that this program was protected through a specific hard-coded check in the kernel. So if you get the kernel binary and you analyze it, you'll see that there is a particular piece of code that says that if the requested program is SAP MSysT or some others, don't access it. It has nothing to do with the magic ABAP string. But what I realized is that the check was only performed on the ABAP program name. So you can pivot it and change the name in the database, get the source code, modify it, and write it back. So it's possible to bypass this check, and we're going to see that. Okay, I'm just going to show you, first of all, that if you try to access this program source code, so here it's a transaction to display, this is the ABAP editor. If I try to display this, at the bottom says the source code is protected, see explanation for long text. Let's see what the explanation gives. That usually is the same text. It says that the desired source text is protected by SAP because changing it will cause system errors. Okay, so you cannot access it to display it, and you can be pretty sure that you can, you can less change it. So let's see what the attacker can do with this. I'm going to execute another payload of the backdoor installer, payload number 2. So it's connecting to the database. He's going to be using the remote HTTP credentials payload, injecting payload, modifying the SAP MSysT and other DIM pros in the database, invalidating currently created ABAP loads, and the backdoor is supposed to be installed. So in this case, what the attacker still needs to do